Good afternoon, guys. We're here to talk with Diana Lang. She was a little nervous, and there she is. Just want to say that she also, this is not a normal, natural thing. So she's a little shy in a way. Like she never wants the camera on her.
Hey, Shay.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. You look great. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you all right, but I'm going to turn up the volume.
Okay.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance. um, so, Dinah, I know that this is a bit out of your comfort zone.
It is.
You're not someone who's like, I'm about to get on the camera and do something.
Nope.
So I really appreciate you doing this with me.
You're welcome.
I've gotten to know you, gosh, I was realizing like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Like 26, I somewhere around there. And
yeah.
I just want to tell people a little bit of background and how we met.
Okay.
Because I think it's a huge part of what tees me up to having you as a friend.
Okay.
So actually, no. How did we meet, Diana?
Well, I was thinking back on that, and it was in late February 2016.
Oh, good. I knew it was. I was like, I think it's 2016. Yep.
Yeah. So Luke and we were renting a townhome, and we thought, you know what? It's time. We need to do something. So buy, or hey Cheryl, I see that wave, or go look and see if we can maybe build a home. That was a dream of ours, right? So
right.
Yeah, we knew coming over to Denver, North Carolina, it would be less expensive. And so we came over to a community and just drove around, and we thought, do we stop at the sales office? I don't know. I don't know if we're ready.
Those crazy salespeople.
Right. So we stopped, and that's where we met you. And I walked in, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be bad cop, and you be good cop.
Get it together. Because that's the one
right.
thing about you. You're uber organized. You're strategic.
That's right. So we walked in, and you came out and greeted us, and I'm like, well, this is what we're looking for, this and this and this. And you're like, well, we can do that. We can do each of those things. I was like, really? Yeah. And so from that point, we signed a contract, I think, that day.
I think we did.
Yeah.
I actually do. I think we did. I think when you guys walked in, good cop, bad cop, and little did I know this was the background story. Right. Luke was going to be the good cop. You're going to be the bad cop, right?
I was going to do a tough one. Yeah.
And my side of it is, I just thought you both were the good cop. I thought you guys were just awesome. I was like, man, I love these people.
Yeah, I was the bad cop.
Hello, Telany.
Oh, hey, Del.
So you guys sit down. I'll never forget that. And we literally write a contract. I remember us walking out on the site.
Oh, yeah. You
remember?
took us out there, yeah. And it was all gravel and dirt. And I'm like, okay,
We're talking vision. We're
right.
just having vision here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jay, you did your job. You sold us a home on a dirt patch.
Oh my God. I know. But I mean, it really was an amazing backyard. I was like, this is it, right? Yeah. Look at this.
Yeah.
And I think that honestly is probably one of, not my most favorite part of my 9 to 5, my gig that feeds my family, but that's one of the fun parts, is seeing something go from nothing to something. That's a beautiful process, I think, because I take it into my heart on other elements, like nothing becomes something. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Because now that whole cul-de-sac is full.
Exactly. And more. And it was amazing at how you walked us through that journey. And not only us, but all of the other families that you helped to get new, beautiful homes. So
it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. So Di, one of the things I remember too is early on because I would always be there late at night.
Yes.
Be like burning the midnight oil, because that's the only way I could get administrative stuff done is after hours.
Right.
And one of my most favorite memories, and I want to ask you that question, is that you and Luke would consistently bring me Taco Tuesdays. You guys would bring me Tuesday tacos. Yeah. 2 of them. And I would like eat one and then save the other one for the car ride. It was just, it was often probably the food that I ate all day except for an apple or a protein shake in the morning. I'm not saying it was good. I'm just saying that you guys were feeding me.
Yeah, I believe
During that time, when you think back to that time, Diana, what do you think is one of the favorite parts of your life at that moment during that time period?
Well, I loved anytime we would stop by and Luke and I were together, I would look at Luke, and if you had no vehicles in your office, I would be like, can we stop and talk with Shay?
Yes.
You know, and sometimes, most of the time we would have time to do that. And sometimes we wouldn't, because we knew it was not going to be a quick conversation.
It was never going to be
a good, deep, fun conversation.
Ocean dive.
Right. Yeah. So I loved those times. And when you stopped working in our neighborhood, we went through a time of mourning. We're like, oh, where's Shay? Where's her Volkswagen Bug? You know,
he's right up there.
Yeah.
Oh, that touches my heart. I want to know. So during this time period, one of the things that I wrote about you is you and Luke both, we got to know each other. So during this time, that was really, it wasn't necessarily the beginning of Matt's kidney disease, but we were deeply in the throes of it, and it was kind of something that I could no longer ignore.
Right.
And do you remember when everybody knows now, spoiler alert, you and Luke stepped up, but I want to know what went through your mind for you and Luke to want to offer your kidney to Matthew? And I really think at that time, I don't think you guys had met him yet.
We hadn't. Well, my thought was, why not? If I have I have functioning kidneys, and why not give someone the gift of life? If that's what it takes, then yeah, let's do it. It was a no-brainer for us.
It was a no-brainer. I remember you guys being the first people I gave a packet to.
Yeah.
You guys were my guinea pigs, because I didn't know what the process would look like on the receiving end of being someone who's checking to see whether or not they were a match. Yeah. So I learned what the process looked like. You remember, through you guys.
Yes. Yeah. You kept asking us, so what about this? What about that? And sad to get a letter back saying we were too chubby to donate a kidney. I'm like, come on.
I will say, and so you don't think that you're too chubby. In the world of giving an organ, it is crazy. It's like, first of all, to receive an organ or to give it, you have to be so healthy. To receive it, you have to be healthy other than that particular morbidity issue. Yeah. Seriously. And then to give an organ, I couldn't give an organ. They'd be like, yeah, your blood pressure, your BMI. Like, seriously, they almost make it like, you got to be Barbie to give this organ. And I'm thinking, Barbie doesn't want to give her organ, so what we doing, you know?
Right. I know. It was very eye-opening, to say the least. And I mean, they sent us the rejection letter, but they also sent us a very nice, hey, this is how you need to eat healthy.
Oh my God.
Very helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate note to self. That is what I will be doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what did you guys feel when you guys were like, because I remember how you guys responded. It was amazing. I want people to hear. Yeah. What did you guys feel when you couldn't donate it?
Well, I was bummed. I was really bummed. So, of course, my goal has been since then, I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to get down to that number that they say I should be at. So maybe I can help someone else. Now, have I done that? No. But
well, you've done a lot of things to that. And that's one of we're going to get you need to be easy on yourself, because you've done a lot of things. You've been very consistent with waking up early in the morning. You've had many transitions. So then take the people through. So shortly after that, you and Luke are denied the ability to donate an organ, but something else started happening in Luke's world.
Yeah. So he just started not feeling well, and he had a terrible, terrible cough. And, being a guy, he never went to the doctor, never. And this cough was like 2-3 months going on. And, I mean, it was very persistent, very loud, to the point of when we were in the car, it was almost hurting my ears, where I'm like, you really got to get that checked out,
Right.
why are you coughing so much? And, you know, he shrugged it off as like allergies, you know, because it was spring.
Yeah.
And then he started just not being able to eat very much. And I was like, hey, are you dieting and not telling me? You know,
Are you trying to get skinny on the DL, Luke?
right. I'm like, what's up with that? Here I am all mad at him, and he's genuinely not feeling well. Yeah.
And we need to tell people, not everybody knows Luke.
Right.
Luke liked to eat.
He did.
And he liked, you know what? It's not just that he liked, Luke loved life. He liked to ingest life and people and food and beauty and art.
Yeah.
And so for someone who has this spirit to be like, yeah, I only want half a taco.
Right. Yeah.
What's wrong?
What? Yeah.
That is the key. What is wrong at that point?
Right. Yeah. So he eventually went to see a doctor in our church, right? He thought, okay, fine, I'll go and get checked out. I'll do a yearly exam thing. And so he went, and the doctor said, I have concern. I feel masses in your abdomen area that need to get further tested. And so he did. He went and got the MRI, a CT scan, and they did show masses. And then he had to go get a biopsy done. And
before, when he was told that he had masses, was Luke scared? Was that alarming to Luke? How did Luke feel at that point?
Yeah, he was concerned. He was definitely concerned, because at first the doctor took a guess and said, I think it's this type of thing. So of course, what do? We jump on the internet and study all of that. I had a ton of stuff printed out about that particular thing they thought he had. And I'm like, okay, we can do this. We can fight this. Because it said, you know, if you ate a certain way, it really helped. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready to buy all these cookbooks.
That's right.
Yeah. And so it came time for the biopsy. And so we go down to a large hospital to have that done. And the people getting ready to do it, it was July 4th.
Yep.
So limited staff. They kept sending us everywhere, all throughout the hospital. And, you know, huge hospitals. So you're like down in the cellar, what it feels like. It's like, I don't even know I'm going to get out of here.
It's a scary thing, to be honest. People need to know it's a scary thing. Even just navigating the hallways, it very much feels like you are in a maze.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're down in this room, and they say, if you can just wait here for like 2 more hours, a doctor will come in who's like a maverick, who will try to do things normal people wouldn't try to do. And we're like, oh, okay, is that supposed to comfort us? But we knew the test had to get done. And so Luke went in, and they went in through his back to try to grab a piece of one of the masses.
Sure.
So they could fully understand. And so that let us know that it was non-Hodgkins lymphoma, that type of cancer.
And what is that?
Well, it is a blood cancer to where those tumors cannot simply be cut out.
They can't.
Yeah, because we're like, well, just cut it out. Cut it, you know, take it out. And they're like, no, it doesn't work like that. And so we're like,
how does it work?
Well, you take chemo, you know, a lot of very dangerous chemo drugs.
Poisonous. Yeah.
And
it makes you feel very weak.
Yeah.
You know, because that's been one of the protocols with Matthew's issue with his kidney is chemotherapy. So I've now seen it. It really depletes you of your you-ness.
It does. And what was unique with Luke is that he was an artist, like a cartoonist.
I mean, no, I gotta pause. I have said this to people who have not met Luke, who didn't have the pleasure.
Yeah.
He literally is one of the most, if not the most, prolific, creative, insightful souls I have ever met in my life. I'm not even using hyperbole. Like, that's how I see him.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, that the chemo drug, now heard it called, like it slowly kills the body. And it's like, what? You know, what? Because honestly, I didn't know that before. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I saw it take away his ability to use his hands, you know, his ability to draw. and to write, because he was an old school cartoonist where he and did everything. Nothing was done on the computer.
Sure.
So that was hard to see. And he journaled every day, right? And so I see his journals from his months of going through this. And just, I mean, he had beautiful handwriting, beautiful.
I know. It was art. It was art.
That was the first thing that attracted me to him in college. I'm like, who is this Luke Lang? I love his penmanship, how he writes.
No, for real.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
I was thinking I had something with his penmanship on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
check this
because out. Look at that. And by the way, that's all just done by hand, just sitting down, just look at Jeff. I mean,
right.
It's so beautiful. I'm going to certainly, I copy him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, just to see someone that you love dearly go through that, it was very hard. And when we got the official diagnosis from the oncologist, so we go to this office, never been there before, and they let us know, you know, this is what it is, showing images of his body, seeing the inside of it. And you can see the masses sitting there. And the oncologist ended the meeting by saying, there is great hope in this. And we're like, really? And he said, yeah, there's great hope in this. You know, we have ways to combat this. So that's fantastic. So we got that news like July 9th of
what year?
2018. Yeah. So we're like, great, let's do this.
We got this.
Yeah, let's fight this. And Luke was a very, very public person, whereas I am not.
Right. That's why I appreciate this. I know you're not.
Yeah. So he chose to publicly write about his cancer journey, you know, through his blog, which is on Facebook and Instagram as well. So at first I was like, oh, I don't know if you should, you know, I don't know if I want you to. I don't know if I want people to know this about our lives. I don't know. But he did. And in doing that, it allowed people, no matter where they were located, to support us in various ways. Like, oh my goodness, people stepped up and they're like, what can we do? You know, what can we do to help you? I want to do this. I want to do that. And they did. And it's just, there are good people in the world. There are
good people. That's one of the things you said when I said, I just want a little bio, just a little write-up. And we were just talking, and while you're talking, I was just writing down things you were saying. And one of the things you said that you wanted to talk about was how people stepped up in tangible ways that supported you and Luke in ways that had they not, you don't think you could have made it. Do you mind sharing with us a couple of those tangible ways?
Sure. So a friend of mine set up a GoFundMe page, you know, very, very practical way. And people gave, and they gave. And I, you know, at first, honestly, it was embarrassing. It was very humbling to have that happen. But wow, did it meet our needs? It really did. Because, you know, Luke wasn't able to work. He did go on disability, you know, and some funds come in through that way. But woo, to have your world change that quickly, and, you know, medical bills, it adds up very quickly.
Oh my gosh. It adds up after one visit.
Yeah.
You don't even need in the aggregate with medical bills. You're like, that was one visit?
Right. And one chemo drug was like $19,000.
People don't realize that.
And another one was like $7,000, you know, and it's like, oh, and we're going to be doing this every other week.
Right. Dialysis was 20 grand a week. And I was like,
who can do that?
These are numbers that's like, okay, it was $1 trillion. It doesn't matter. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah,
exactly. So Luke's journey was 10 months long, right? And so from July to December, the goal was to get the tumors to shrink so that we could go meet with Duke University for a stem cell transplant, because that was the goal. That was the answer. Because they said, if we could show that the chemo was working against his tumors, then he would be eligible for a stem cell transplant, which would
And what does a stem cell transplant do? What's the idea behind that?
The idea is they take out your stem cells, they re-engineer them, and they put them back in, and that fights the cancer within your body.
Wow.
Yeah, and it can be like a lifelong thing that they're continually fighting it. And we did eventually get to go to Duke and met with the team there, and he was accepted.
He was?
He was accepted.
I never knew that.
Yeah, we did. And this was after he had emergency diverticulitis surgery.
Right.
Where that just happened one day. All of a sudden his abdomen started filling with air, and he was having chemo done. He did the type of chemo where he brought it home in a bag attached to his body. And it was a pump going all night. You could hear it. And
what is your life looking like right then? Are you guys sleeping in the same bed? I want people to see what your life is physically looking like at that moment.
We were sleeping in the same bed, and having chemo like that caused him to have to get up and go to the bathroom every 20 minutes. No joke.
Wow.
And so I would just constantly be looking over at him. Every time he got up, I'm like, is he okay? Is he making it to the bathroom? Do I need to get up and help him?
Yeah.
And honestly, towards the end, I was looking constantly like, is he still breathing? You know, I mean, that was my life.
That is a hard thing. I just want people to wrap their brains around what that looks like. Having someone who, because he's not sure on his feet,
right?
He's not sure in his body. He's having to get up and go and navigate to a bathroom with something attached to himself every 20 minutes. This is a scary, scary time. I know I didn't even have that, and I was scared. And that disrupts your sleep. And the reason why that's important that I'm saying this is you're still a human being. You still have to live, and you are the breadwinner. You still have to keep working. You're working through this stuff.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, thankfully, my boss was so gracious, and I handled what I could handle. And if there was stuff I couldn't, I could give to her, and she helped me. Oh, yeah. And then my company, the HR department, the senior VP of HR called me and said, we had just left the clinic. Luke was in the back seat, had the thing attached to him again. And she's like, Diana, what can we do for you? And I said, when we get to Duke, I'm going to need time. I'm going to need 4 weeks because I will be his sole caregiver. They will release him to me every day. And I have to make sure he doesn't, I have to do all these things. And so I'm going to need time. And she's like, you got it. You got whatever you need. And I was like, thank you. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. The reason why that's such a tremendous response is because, years ago, I read, in My Utmost for His Highest, a quote by Oswald Chambers, and it says in there that there's always one fact more of every man's case of which you know nothing. And so when you realize that, you're able to interact with people with greater compassion and understanding that everybody's fighting a battle. And what I love about that is they recognized your battle. They recognized. They may not have had the answer to do everything. They may not have known what to do, but they recognized your battle. And it's something so powerful to just let people know, I see you in the fight. Yeah. I see you. Yeah. What can I do?
Right. Well, here's what's amazing is she herself had gone through, her third child was born with heart issues. And so she had gone through being with her son in another state, having open heart surgery as an infant. So she got it.
Yes. Which it's not to celebrate it's not to celebrate these broken, hard moments and act like they're easy.
Right.
But they're necessary, right? Yeah. Because I bet you it's because she had experienced such tragedy with her children that she was able to see it in you. Yeah. That's what it helps us. It helps us bend and be more human.
Yeah. Yeah. So during this whole time, the scripture that I clung to was, through the Lord's mercies, we are not consumed because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And that's in Lamentations 3:22 and 23. Every day I was just like, this will not consume me. It will not consume me because God is my anchor. He's my strength, and he's going to see us through this. no matter the outcome, even though all the way through the journey, except for the last 4 days, we were positive that he would be physically healed on this earth. We were. So
Positive.
yeah. 4 days before he passed away, he just wasn't feeling well at home. And I just looked at him. I had gotten up, got him ready, got myself ready, and I started to go to work. And I could just tell, I'm like, something's off. He's just not his normal self. And I looked at him and I said, Luke, are you okay? How are you feeling? And he's like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I said, okay. So do you want me to call 911? Because I'm like, because we had just been in the hospital like 2 days before. And at that point, that was the first time his oncologist had mentioned the word hospice. And we were like, what?
I thought this was good news.
Yeah. I was like, hospice? What are you talking about? So like, we wouldn't even hear that word, you know?
Right.
No, because Luke was going to be healed.
Yep.
And so we got.
And I want to pause real quick. The reason why you're having to talk to Luke about should we call 911 is because you can't navigate getting Luke in and out of the car with the bag and all of this in an urgent situation. I need people to understand that it was impossible. The only way that he was going to get to the hospital is if you had external help.
Right. Well, and he had been having blood issues, meaning his nose would start bleeding. He didn't even know that was happening. And so we would go get blood transfusions and then get tested the next day. And it was like he didn't receive any blood. And he had just gotten 5 bags of blood. So it's like something's going on.
Consuming it.
Yeah. So I didn't want to have him in the car with me. And, you know, we're on the highway and something happens to him. So I wanted medical professionals there who knew what to do. So, I called 911 that morning, and I'll tell you what, I have a whole new respect for medical professionals. And I'm not talking just doctors. I'm talking
those medics are no joke.
And nurses.
Yes.
They carry so much responsibility. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. And Luke's personality was so amazing, to the fact that they're trying to put a tube down his nose and throat, and he's saying, thank you, you know, for helping me. And it was like that all the time. And he taught me so much about you get to choose your reaction to every situation. You get to choose. And he always chose joy. Always.
He really did. I mean, like, oh my God.
Every setting. And so even in his cancer fight, there was one time where I saw him get so down, and it was his assistant, Katie, was getting married, and we were not able to go to their wedding. And he was pissed. And he was like, you know, cancer has robbed so much from me, from us, from our lives. And he's like, I hate it that I can't be there to celebrate with this young couple. And that, you know, it was hard. But that's really the only time where I saw him so down. You know,
he really chose joy, you know, like,
yeah.
He made, I'm so sorry. He really was just, he made me a better person, you know, because the way he lived, I was like, it's possible. It's possible to be a genuinely, like, deeply profound, loving, and caring person. No matter what, we do not have an excuse not to show it with love. No. We don't.
No, and Shay, he did have people throughout his life try to break him.
I know they did, because that's what the world tries to do. It tries to shut it out, and it desperately needs the joy, but it wants to kill it.
Yeah, but he's like, nope, I get to choose my reaction. So it will always be joy. And when he walked into a room, whew, you could just feel the presence in the room became lighter.
It did.
And people knew when Luke was a part of the gathering, it was going to be fun.
Yes,
They were
he
going to have
did. I mean,
Yeah.
like, even when he first started having those stomach issues, you didn't say this, but I remember him because he was a jokester too.
Yeah.
He was trying to convince the doctor that they were tacos and
Right.
and like
Yeah.
Doritos.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe not. I mean, like, even then.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I remember when we were first dating, we dated for 3 months, and then got engaged. Yeah. And we're engaged for a year. I was like, okay, I'm going to test him here.
Uh-huh.
He's happy-go-lucky. Well, I'm going to let him have it.
Yeah.
He's going to see my every mood, and let's see how happy he is through
I'm giving him bad cop right about now.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I would do nasty things, like women can do. And I would be like, oh, how you like me now?
Uh-huh. What are you going to do?
He was like, I still love you. I'm like, you do? You should be a little mad at me right now. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. So
I love it when you told me, like, you would be like, ooh, and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to fight.
No,
You'd
I
be
know.
like, but I want to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Mm-mm.
Right. Yeah, he wouldn't fight with me ever.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So 4 days before.
Yeah. So he was taken down to a large hospital in Charlotte. And, by then we had so many hospital visits. I knew what I needed to gather for myself. So I gathered them really quick, called our daughter, and I just said, Delaney, you need to get down here to the hospital quick. Your dad's not doing good. So we went down there, and it wasn't pleasant at all. He was throwing up uncontrollably. They were trying to help him, and his heart rate was almost to 200 beats a minute, which is very dangerous.
What is it supposed to be? I'm terrible. I don't know.
Like in the 130s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was bad. And you could see the nurses looking at each other like, what do we do?
Okay.
So they got him settled down, and Delaney arrived, and a young ER doctor came in, a woman, and she sat Delaney and I down, and she said, he's not going to leave here alive. And we were like, what? And I looked at her and I thought, your job sucks. That was my mind. Ew. You have to deliver this message to people. And Dell and I just looked at each other like, what is she even saying?
Yeah. Her mouth is moving.
Yeah.
I know she's saying words. I do not understand her.
Yeah. So we were like, what? How do you even process that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either. So, but I am a very pragmatic person.
You are. That's one of the things Luke loved about you. He would brag about your pragmatism.
I'm very practical. So immediately I kick into the gear of, okay, what tasks need to be accomplished? Who needs to be made aware that we've just been told this? So I don't know if it was the look on our faces or what, but she had 4 other doctors come in to sit down and talk with us, to tell us the reality of the situation. And you know what? They were amazing.
What made them amazing?
They were so compassionate, such beautiful people, really. One gentleman sat down at Luke's bedside, and Luke was awake at that time. And he was just so kind. And he was like, Luke, I want you to know, you're not going to have more pain than we can handle. He said, you just have to let us know, and we will take care of it. And he was just sat down there and talked with us for quite a while. And so, the reality of the situation really hit us. And I was making calls to family members, to our pastor, dear friends. And then the surgeon came in, who we had met with multiple times before, who had worked on Luke 2 times before. And he had told us back in January, he said, I don't think that Luke is going to survive to see his colonoscopy reversed. And at that time, we're like, there's going to be a miracle.
You don't understand who Jesus is.
Right. I'm like,
right.
No.
Yeah.
You need to forget about that. So he came in. So he would have been, doctor number 5 that day. And he pulled up on the computer screens scans, like from back in January, and then a scan in March, and compared it to the scan of that day. and just the reality and seeing the growths that we could see.
It was growing. It
Yeah.
wasn't shrinking.
It was not. And you could just see his organs just being consumed by the tumors. And so
what is Luke? So Luke is in the room when they're sharing this information.
Yeah.
And he's lucid. He can hear it.
He can.
What does he say?
Well, he's just sitting there taking it. And this doctor believed in God and had a relationship with God, which was a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And so he was just calmly talking with
them. It helps
them.
you sit in that space.
Yeah. And saying, well, we know that this is not all there is, right? We know that. And so I'm sitting there looking between him and Luke and him and Luke. And I'm like, I have to say it. And so I looked at this doctor and I said, do you believe in miracles? You know, because we're believing for a miracle. And he was like, well, of course I do. And at that moment, Luke spoke up and he said, we don't get to choose what the miracle looks like. And I wanted to yell at him and say, you shut up. I know what I want the miracle to look like.
Let me tell you what the miracle looks like.
Right.
The miracle looks like you get up out of this damn bed and we go home.
And we're out. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, like, it was just so profound that he said that at that time that I'm just like, what do you say to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say to that? So when it became clear that unless God makes a miracle happen this second,
yeah,
Luke is going on, what are you feeling? And what do you, to the best of your ability, what is Luke feeling?
Well, Luke at that point was still like, well, let's do what we can to save my life, which who wouldn't say that?
Right.
Right.
Right. I want to be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to say this too, for those who do not know you. You and Luke have one daughter.
Right.
And you have one grandbaby.
We do. Yeah. And a son-in-law, you know.
And a son. Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful family. Right.
Yes.
And so she is about to turn 2 in a couple of days. So of course he wants to stick around and see her grow up. Of course.
Yeah. Of course he does.
Yeah.
He wants to be at her wedding. He wants to do all of that stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So we had a choice to make. Either we go to hospice in the hospital, or we go up to the unit that's a step down from ICU. And so since Luke makes that request, you know, let's do what we can to save my life. We go up to the unit on the floor, and they do what they can over the next couple of days to keep him comfortable. And when it became clear that he was going to pass away, then we did move to hospice on Easter Sunday.
I remember that day.
Yeah. And so over those next couple of days, his family came in, you know, and his sister stayed with Delaney and I in his room. And we just wouldn't leave. There was a point in time where I was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't turn around and look at my husband and act like everything's going to be fine. You know, everything's going to be fine. Because he knew at one point the oncologist had come in and he said to me, so what's the treatment plan for Monday? And I had to look at him and say, you know, let's just get through the weekend.
Yeah.
And then we'll worry about that on Monday. And he passed away Easter Sunday. So I'm standing at the sink washing my hands because I had just helped him with something. And I thought, oh, Lord, I cannot turn around and act like everything's fine. Everything's going to be fine. And at that point, I felt a presence behind me. And I thought, who dares stand behind me right now and bother me?
Right.
Because I'm about to go nuts.
I'm about to go bad cop on this mofo.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
Uh-huh.
And so I glanced around my shoulder, ready to bite someone's head off because I was exhausted. Right. And all I saw was an outline. That's all I saw. And I physically felt a hand on my shoulder. And at that moment, I knew it was God. And he whispered to me, you can do this. You can do this. You can turn around and you can smile at Luke. And you can continue loving him with everything you have because I've got you. You can do it. And so I said, okay, I did it. And I turned around and we just went on and we helped him with whatever he needed help with. And at night, I didn't sleep because we wanted to make sure he was taken care of. So during the day, I thought when he naps, I'm going to nap.
Right.
And so I did that, and I wasn't fully napping, not resting. I was concerned.
Right.
And eventually, from exhaustion, I did fall asleep. But every time I did that during the day, whenever Luke would stir and need something, I would hear a voice say, Diana. And it would wake me up. And it would be at that moment when Luke would need my help.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Supernatural. That was supernatural experiences.
Yes. Very real. And through that whole journey, as awful as it was, God was so real.
Yeah.
So real.
Yeah.
And he is alive and active today.
Yeah. And
he wants to be a part of every part of our lives. And
yeah,
I can testify to that he's so real today.
A book I read many years ago now, like maybe 10, 15 years ago, is called The Third Man. And it's not a Christian book. It's just a book talking about this spiritual experience that many people have in near-death moments.
Yeah.
Or moments that are very challenging or excruciating or incomprehensible. And I found it so interesting that people of different walks of life, people with different faiths, people who didn't even have a faith, when they found themselves, for me, I love this. What I want people to extrapolate from this is how big and real God is. What you see in all of these stories is a consistent recognition at some point of a presence that's beyond them, one that they didn't necessarily believe in, but is there. Yeah. It is there.
Oh, yeah.
Like even Shackleton, the people who went, when they did the Great Northern Expedition, that's one of the things, that's where that phrase comes from, is that they kept saying, they didn't talk about it when they got back to England. I think this is in the late 1800s. They didn't talk about it because they were like, what was that? But they all, when they finally got together, they're like, they were within inches of their lives. The whole crew had died except for these two men.
Yeah.
And these two men, both in their minds, they saw a third man who had them at the back. Oh. And they never mentioned it to each other until they got to England. They're like, there was this third man. Did you see that third man? And then they were like, yeah. And that third man kept them going. So I find it so interesting that when you're in the clutches of death, God has us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's the only time we can see him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have been studying heaven, and listening to every sermon I can on it and just studying it. And one preacher talks about how when you're at death's door, like angels are sent to greet you, to take you into heaven. And, when Luke was taking his final breaths, he kept saying a word. And I'm like, what is he saying? And he just kept saying, Selah, Selah. Yeah. And
he did?
Yeah.
He never told me that.
Yeah, he sure did. And it was beautiful. And to me, I just envisioned he was seeing those angels come for him. And
Selah.
Yeah, we're ready to go. We're ready to
pause and think, Selah. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Beautiful.
He just kept saying that. So he was very much at peace.
Yes.
In that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he had prepared his whole life for that. His whole life was to teach others about God and how it's such a personal relationship type of thing. It's what he lived for.
Oh my God. So you saw Luke take his last breath.
Yeah. There was I want to say about 11 of us surrounding him. which what an honor.
What an honor.
Yeah.
It's how we all want to go out.
Yeah.
Surrounded by people who love us.
Yes.
And see us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I got to tell you, there was an army of people who just stood up and were there for me afterwards, you know, in many different ways, as far as bringing meals, you know, and continuing with the financial gifts, mowing my yard. My church put a crew together for the rest of the summer and mowed my yard once a week, and just, you know, just showered love, which was amazing.
It was.
Yeah.
So then Luke takes his last breath.
Yeah.
You guys were all there. What now?
Phew. Yeah. It's such a final thing on this earth that I thought, oh, you know, my church offered a grief share class that I joined, because I thought, I want all the tools. Give me all the tools.
All the tools.
Right? And so did I want to go through that and relive it? No, I did not. But I did. And I encourage anybody who's lost a loved one to go through that. And it doesn't have to be a spouse. It doesn't have to be a parent. If it's just someone you love dearly, you need to get into a grief share class, because it helps so much. You know, they give you different things to realize that what you're going through, what you're experiencing is normal, and it's okay. Yeah. Totally okay.
Did you ever get angry afterwards?
I think I did, because, you know, he died within the 4-day time frame, the reality of it, that it was going to happen.
You didn't have a lot of time to sit with it.
Correct.
Right.
With him being very coherent. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because as I planned his funeral, I kept thinking, is this what he had wanted? You know, I'm like, am I missing anything? So yeah, a lot of those thoughts. So
the most, and I do mean this, and I've told people this who don't know you, Diana, the greatest, literally, it is maybe outside of becoming a mom, seriously, one of the greatest honors of my life is when you called me and asked me to speak at his funeral.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It really was. I was like, I think it just blew me away when I just sat down and thought, like, this all started about buying a stupid house.
Right.
You know?
But Shay, I saw how much you got Luke. You understood him. You celebrated his gifts that he brought. I mean, you and him would have the most hilarious and deep conversations every time we got together.
You know what, one of the funny conversations I remember is when you guys got your DNA testing back.
Yeah.
And Luke was like, fingers crossed, like just hoping he had some African, and it came back and it was like 99.8% Caucasian.
Right.
And he was like, but Shay, I'm 0.02 Ashkenazi. And I was like, whoa.
Right.
Look at him.
Right.
I love that. That just shows how, like, Luke was genuinely upset that his DNA just showed nothing but white.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was like, boring, snore. It's just like a beautiful example of like how wonderful a soul he was.
Yeah.
I want people to hear this. So you go home. Home looks very different right now.
Ooh.
What did that quiet feel like, and what'd you do in that quiet?
Well, you know, it took a good, I had a dear friend, Brenda. She spent like the next 5 days with me, which was very nice.
Good.
So
it's necessary.
Yeah.
I think that quiet could engulf a person.
Yes. Yeah. So, the first night, you know, sleeping alone.
Yeah.
It was hard, very hard. And there were times when I would, you know, go to have dinner and think, man, I just don't want to be alone. I don't. So here's what's awesome. One night I was having one of those, I don't want to be alone. I don't, right? And at that moment, there's a knock on my door, and it's my neighbor. And he said he was doing some work for me, building a custom entertainment center. And he's like, hey, can I come in and work? And I was like, yes, please. Yes, please do.
Come.
Yeah. And so he came in. And
Can I make you lunch?
Right. He said, do you mind if my family comes over? So I was like, please. And so I sit at my table and I eat my dinner while my precious neighbors come over and hang out. You know, at that moment when I needed someone to be there. And so other things that people did, they came and they planted a tree in my backyard, Cheryl and Tracy and David, a beautiful tree in Luke's memory. And just constant things like that. And then throughout his journey, people would send fun gifts because they knew Luke would appreciate it. Someone sent 25-cent gold coins, right? Like $500 worth in a pirate chest.
Shut up.
Oh no. And they
and by the way,
what?
Luke called himself, tell everybody.
Yeah, Captain Cholet. Yeah. He did, because he had a white long beard. And I'll tell you what, it was so precious. When the chemo took his hair and it started to fall out on his chin, that he called a chin mullet.
Yeah. That's why it's a cholet.
Right. And so he cried at that time, and he said, I finally get it. You know, when women lose their hair because of chemo, he's like, I get it. He's like, this is hard. This is very hard.
Because it's an identifiable thing.
Yeah.
It's not even so much that it's hair in the abstract. It's like, that's how you look to yourself.
Right.
And all of a sudden you don't look like yourself to you anymore. Right. And that feels, I can imagine, very strange.
Yeah. So we would use the app Marco Polo a lot between all of our family members. And so when that happened, when Luke lost his facial hair, he started doing his videos like this. That's all he would do. And one day I was like, Luke, you can't do that anymore. We want to see all of you. Yeah. You know, we don't care that you have a double chin. It just doesn't matter. Yeah.
They want you to see the double chin.
Right.
Oh my God. He just makes that look. I want to just kick him, be like, here we go. How you doing?
Right. Exactly. I was like, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah.
Diana, what do you think out of all of this? What has been a big takeaway that you have, I guess, extrapolated for yourself in your life that's helped you, or just an awareness?
I think when it comes down to it, when you have to, you can do hard things. You can walk through hard times. When a nurse came into his room after he had the emergency diverticulitis surgery and ended up with the colostomy bag. She came into his room and she looked at me and she's like, I'm going to train you how to take care of this. And I thought, what? I said, not me. And she's
like, do I have to pull out bag top on you again, lady?
Right. And she's like, yeah, you're going to have to help him. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And
so when you have to, you can do hard things.
Yeah. And
that's a big thing. Thank you.
It is. Because there have been times when I'm just walking, taking care of things, because when you become a single person or you have someone with major health issues, you know, in your family, you just have to take care of things. That's right. You got to get it done. There's no one else. That can be exhausting at times. It can. And there were times when I would be walking, doing things, and I thought, I'm just going to collapse as I'm on my way to do things that just have to be done. And then I'm just going to pick myself up and continue on, you know? Right. So interesting how your physical body reacts to stress. Yes. Because I now have gray that I never had before, you know? Sure. And I am not going to cover that up because I have lived it.
Every last one of them. It's like my stretch marks on my belly. Yep.
Right.
I had a baby. That's
right.
what happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also that there are really, really good people in the world. Oh my goodness.
Really good people in the world.
Yeah, there really are. And people they want to help. They do. They just, a lot of times people don't know.
How to.
Yeah.
And I would say too that, you know, when you're in a really rough spot and people are like, how can I help you? You don't know how to articulate. So I always just tell people, just jump in, just help, do whatever you can, whatever you see that's lacking or you think there may be a need, just do it. Yeah. No one on the receiving end is going to be like, I didn't need that help. It's just hard to articulate the help you need when you're in pain. You don't even know what to say.
Right. Or when you're just trying to survive that day.
Yeah.
I just have to do what has to be done today.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're coming up on an hour and it's going to kick me off. So I want to ask you a couple quick questions in James Lipton style of the Actors Studio. What sound or noise do you love?
What sound or noise?
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. Recently, my dog, just hearing her little tip, tip, tip on the floor. I love that. I also definitely love my granddaughter saying, hi, Gigi.
Hi, Gigi.
Of course. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate that you don't like?
What sound or noise do I hate? You know, I have a hard time going to extremes like that. Mm-hmm. Like Luke is always somebody, I love this, I love that. I have a hard time.
Yeah.
I really do.
So I have a hard time even coming up with a sound. That's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Uh-oh. What's my favorite curse word?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that honestly, hey.
You're like,
Yeah.
You can spell it out.
I have a hard time saying curse words. Yeah. Have you seen,
the
episode?
You are such a nerd, my good. Yeah.
On Parks and Recreations where she's like, C-R-A-P.
Yes.
That's me.
That's me. I know you. Oh my God. I know you, nerdy girl. Good old crap. So it's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It is a filthy, raggedy one.
Right.
Okay. If heaven exists, what do you want God to say when you get there?
I know heaven exists in my heart of hearts. I want him to say, you know, well done, Diana. I love you. Yeah. Yeah.
God, Diana, I love you. And I am so appreciative of this time of just allowing us to walk through your grief. And also on the other side, what is something completely different that you're doing this year right now that you weren't last year? I want to end on a high note.
Yeah, I am planting a garden. And Shay, I'm choosing to live. That's one thing going through this with Luke is I am choosing to live life to the fullest. I've always wanted to live where I can see the mountains every day. And I have made that move.
Yes. Where do you live now, girl?
I live near Asheville, North Carolina.
Biltmore visit coming
up.
That's
right.
I know. I love that. So the big things that you're doing is you're planting a garden and you're choosing to live. Yeah. You always want to live in the mountains. And so in the mountains, Diana Lang lives now.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, you're so beautiful. I really appreciate this time. People are going to get some good stuff out of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, dear.
And thank you for allowing me to do the ugly cry. I cannot believe that. I couldn't even hold it in, girl. I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.